You're listening to a Countout Podcast.
Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Your Dose of Death podcast. As you can see by the title, this is episode 2 of the Road to No Man's Land in conjunction with No Man's Land Wrestling. And of course, I am joined by someone who literally needs very little introduction, but I, as always, love giving my introductions. This man has a reputation that spans worldwide, from the UK to the US to everywhere he has been. He has won titles numerous places. He has been in numerous deathmatch tournaments. A man who currently right now holds one of the more prestigious titles in the UK deathmatch scene, who is going to be coming back to the United States to take on none other than Neil Diamond Cutter. I am talking, of course, with the man himself, Clint Margera, which, by the way, I told him this before recording. He is one of the most requested guests on Your Dose of Death podcast, and we finally get to make this happen today. Clint, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. It's nice to know that I'm requested. It's nice that people give a shit.
Right? But no, it really is a testament to how much of an impact you've made. I mean, you've been everywhere and anywhere possible in your career. And of course, as I said, this is the Road to No Man's Land, and you are in line for a huge match, a dream match that not many fans would have thought they would have seen on their calendar. To see, of course, you're facing Neil Diamond Cutter. The two of you really have had very interesting trajectories to this match. Of course, right now, though, you also hold the TNT Deathmatch Championship. You are just coming off the heels of a really interesting weekend that is the Rise and ICW No Holds Barred weekend. How are you feeling, by the way, heading into next month? I mean, March is coming right around the corner.
I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest. I'm still a little bit tired from last weekend. It was a bit of a heavy one, but yeah, I feel good. I feel like I'm really looking forward to facing Neil, someone that I've never fought before. But like I said, like towards the end of last year, I want this year to be a year of first. So I'm buzzing for it. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a hell of a first. To me, I mean, Neil, of course, his reputation precedes him. He is the original Prince of the Death Match, which was one of the biggest deathmatch tournaments in the world at one point. Also, he's coming off a huge first, which breaking the internet with his match with Sakuda. I want to get your first initial thoughts on Neil. Like, what stands out to you about him?
He is willing to do some mad shit, and I think we all got a real good glimpse of that when he wrestled Sakuda not too long ago. But he's been going at it for years now. He's just someone who I obviously think just loves deathmatch wrestling. Like deathmatch wrestling, like the art of deathmatch wrestling. That's what I get from watching Neil, and that's what I've got from watching him for so long. And I only really met him January last year, like for the first time when I came over for ICW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think he's one of the people out there, like I say, who just really loves everything about deathmatch. Just all of it.
Yeah, I mean, his reputation precedes him, and you really put it nicely that, I mean, he embodies deathmatch wrestling, the art form of it. What is it when you were given this match? I mean, what was it, an easy yes to say to accept this match, or like was there any hesitation on your part? Or I mean, this is not an easy match to take. I mean, especially considering, as I've been told, this is going to be the main event of a brand new promotion, and it's in a stipulation that both of you may not have a lot of familiarity with. Was there any hesitation to take this match, or no?
No, not at all, to be honest. I know exactly what I'm getting into. Obviously, the stipulation is a little bit vague at the moment, but we've got to put some stuff on the map, and we've got to put No Man's Land on the map. So let's just go out and get it. And I'm so excited to come back. Like, I've been wanting to come back since January last year, and hopefully this is the start of some bigger things as well. But yeah, I want to make sure that this show gets people talking about this company. I want to make sure that this match lives up to the hype that people have got in their mind. And I want to make sure it lives up to the hype that I think me and Neil both share. We want the match to be something really special. So I can't wait. It's going to be pretty crazy, I reckon.
Yeah, and I want to get to just your experience in the UK deathmatch scene as well, because I mean, yes, like No Man's Land, it's a big thing bringing an international talent like yourself who has had the miles, and this is your first time back in the US in more than a year. But what has it been like to see the UK deathmatch scene grow? Because in my opinion, the Rise ICW weekend was really like the coming out party for the UK deathmatch scene. I've tried to put it over as many times as possible. There's a lot of great people, but what was it like to have 3 straight sellout shows in Leeds and they're being broadcasted around the world?
It was real heartwarming for me to have been doing this for so long. And you know, I started this at a time where people really didn't care for this kind of style. That's how I felt when I started doing this over here. It was kind of looked down upon. Probably still is by some people, but you know, each to their own. Not everything's for everybody. But yeah, I mean, to see it grow into what it's becoming now, and to see everyone at places like Rise busting their ass to make the UK deathmatch scene something really special. And you know, at TNT as well, I've been repping those guys for so long now, and I've got the TNT Extreme Division Championship back again. But yeah, just to see all the talent that's coming out of it, Kumite as well.
Yeah,
I've got to give
Kumite.
a nod to them because you know they're coming up and they've got some big stuff planned this year. But yeah, to see people really shine last weekend, people like BA Rose, who you know is just kind of like got into the style of death matches, but he really shone last weekend, and it was great to see him on such a big stage for the whole weekend. Yeah, it was great to see, like really heartwarming.
Yeah, that's awesome. B.A. Rose is the guy I definitely checked out. I first got eyes on it was when I was given the copy of the Deathmatch Outlaws Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, of course, like I had already known you, I had already known Joe, but getting to know these other guys like Darko, Caden, BA, of course, Iceman is a legend on his own, which by the way, just gonna say it now, keep an eye on that Jack Harrop and Iceman match. That clip,
Yeah.
that clip though, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, you will never see that in the States. But God forbid, that was just something else. But I've seen some clips of the match that it looks incredible. I cannot wait.
The reaction in that room when that happened, I hope it comes across on the footage, but it was it was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff I saw from that weekend was really cool to see. And I mean, especially I know a lot of the guys in ICW just they all said it was just such a great time, and they're already going back for Games of Death, which is so huge. That's a huge tournament. That's probably like that and DOA are kind of neck and neck for the biggest deathmatch tournament in the UK. I don't know about you.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, just a little side note, of course, you're going to be on DOA defending your TNT belt against Alton Thorne, someone who I've gotten to know a little bit while me and him have been talking. But what do you think of a guy like Alton Thorne?
Do you know what? He came into DOA last year as pretty much like a last minute on the day replacement.
Okay.
Someone dropped out and he was I think he must have been called either very late the night before or very early on the morning of. And he came in and he was one of my opponents in the tournament. And I had a lot of fun doing stuff with Alton. I mean, he's got a really cool thing where he brings like nettles
What are
to
nettles?
like stinging nettles, like a kind of like
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Now I was like, what are nettles? Never heard of that before.
So he brings like, and which is really cool because it's really original. Nobody else has done it before, and it's like I like kind of like when new people come into death matches when they bring something a little bit new and a little bit just them, and like something original. It's really cool because you can like do some like new stuff. You're like, okay, well, we can like, how are we going to use this new weapon and everything like that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun wrestling him, and he's been killing it at Kumite. Like every time that I've managed to get over there and do shows for them, he's always kind of like stepped it up every show, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings in a couple of weeks because I think it's going to be a sick one, and we've got a lot of matches before us, but I want us to stand out as always.
I am curious from your opinion, since you have been here in the States and you've wrestled now both the United States style and the UK, what are some differences that you yourself see in the style that the UK does for death matches versus what the US does? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't really notice that many differences
Okay.
to me. Maybe it's all just kind of like blurred into just one style now for me. Yeah, I don't really see much difference myself.
Okay.
I mean, the people that I've wrestled specifically, like, you know, they like to wrestle while they're doing death matches as well, which is something that I am big on, and I'd like to see that in death matches. I mean, but yeah, I haven't really noticed that many differences. To be
Okay.
honest.
I mean, I think the one that I've noticed, and this was from the Rise ICW clips, was the razor wire. Like you don't see
Oh,
that.
okay.
You don't see that in the States. Like that's some dangerous stuff. I saw that. I was
Yeah,
like, oh my God. Like, um, yeah, that's like the one difference. And maybe like the stipulations maybe a bit different.
yeah,
I mean, of course, the light tubes, it's gonna change here or
yeah.
there because you don't see many skinny tubes used in the US. And if you do, it's
No,
because someone wants them. And of course, there's reasons to it. Of course, the Nick Gagers
yeah,
and
of course.
that kind of spurred I don't want to say it was an actual ban. It's just people didn't want to use them because after that, they're like, oh,
Mhm.
I don't want.
No, I get it.
But it's pretty ballsy to see elsewhere use skinny tubes. I will say, I think the other big difference is how fans are. The
Mhm.
fans in the UK, it is so cool. It's almost like a soccer or football match. The
Yeah,
chants,
yeah,
the energy is just something else. I mean, yeah, you get it here in the States, but like they're close. Like I see,
mhm.
and I was like, it is incredibly close. How do you feel about the fans being that close to the action, especially at like Rise?
Um, it's kind of scary because you've got to be very wary of where people are. And I mean, there was one point during my match with Brandon where I kind of threw a chair onto the canvas, but it kind of slid like nearly
Oh
underneath the
no.
chain. So thankfully, no cameras got broken and no one got no one got hurt and stuff. But yeah, you've just got to be very very wary. But I remember wrestling at Newark in
Oh
January, and
yeah,
like
Newark, yeah.
that crowd were so rowdy, and like there was just glass flying everywhere, and
Yeah.
no one really cared. And
Yeah,
they
those
were having the time
ICW
of their lives.
crowds, those ICW crowds can be rowdy. I can admit to
Yeah.
that. So I was just curious because I just see like, yeah, like the ICW crowds are goes, but like the UK, it's like holy crap, like another
Mm.
level. Like the
Yeah.
Outlaw Cup was really evident of that. I was like, this is
Yeah.
like some like punk rock, like mosh pit vibes here. I love it. So it is your first time going to be at the H2O Center. I'm guessing you've probably watched a few shows that have been
Mhm.
there. What does it mean for you to be able to make the trip to Williamstown and do a show at the H2O Center finally?
I'm really looking forward to it. I've been to the venue before.
Okay, yeah.
So the night before I did Tournament of Death, I went
Okay.
to the H2O show. Um, so I've been in the venue. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to wrestling there, and it's a bit of a special moment for me as well because obviously we've got the big Danny Havoc banner. So it's going to be a bit emotional, I think, wrestling underneath that banner. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm just looking forward to seeing Tremont again and just being in that wrestle center. I think it's going to be sick.
Yeah, it's only going to be my second time there, of course. I went. It's already been a while since I went, but it's such a cool, special venue. I think it's almost like one of those like bucket list venues for like indie deathmatch fans. So it's another one. But yeah, I mean, again, this has been really awesome to have you on and just pick your mind in the world of deathmatch. I mean, how long have you been doing death matches to this day?
Let's see, my first one, the first proper one that I think was 2011, 2010, 2011.
Okay.
So since then, basically, yeah. So
I gotta ask, like, going back to those first few death matches, what was it like the first time death, like for you doing it, like your first time? What was like your initial thoughts doing it?
I was pretty nervous. It was just a barbed wire one. As
Okay.
far as I remember, we just had a couple of barbed wire boards. But yeah, that was kind of like the first thing. I was obviously definitely nervous. But afterwards, like the adrenaline was just too much. So it was just a case of, right, okay, I've done that now. Let's see what I can do next, and then let's see what I can do after that, and then after that, and then that's just pretty much how it went.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always interested. I mean, you again, as you said, in 2010. I mean, it's literally been more than a decade plus at this moment, and I mean, you've had some incredible matches through the years. I mean, the ones that stand out to me, of course, the Alex Colon matches. Those are always really fun to watch. Of course, when you were making like your GCW TNT debut, you, Joe, Jimmy, and Murdoch. I gotta ask, who are some of your favorite guys you wrestled throughout the years?
Ricky Shane Page, Alex Colon, Big Joe. Like every time that I've wrestled Joe, it's always just been something quite special happening. So as many more times as we can do that, then I'm sure we will. Who else? Man, Drew Parker. We've had a couple.
Yeah,
Came off the scaffold with Drew at the first Death House. Man,
I'm gonna stop you there. How do you feel about Drew deciding to finally say he's done with death matches after next month? What's your thoughts on it?
I think when you look at how much he's managed to do in such a short space of time, then he's still super young. He's still got loads of time to do tons of other stuff in wrestling. And if he feels like he's at the point where it's either a case of it's too much for him now, or he just doesn't want to deal with the injuries or the constant injuries, or if he just thinks, you know what, I've done everything that I set out to do, and for now there's nothing left for him to do, then that's cool, man. Like I say, he's done so much in such a short space of time, and he's faced some of the people that I would love to face, like people like Takeda and Jun Kasai. I've never wrestled either of those guys, and I would kill a man to wrestle those people, figuratively, not literally.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, like, so all the more power to him, and I'm excited to see what he does going forward, because he can wrestle, and that's what I mean. Like, he's a deathmatch wrestler. He's got that hybrid style. He's a bit of a junior heavyweight, has been before he started doing death matches. So he's a bit of a high flyer, and he's got some technical style to him as well. So he can do it all. So I'm pretty sure that whatever door opens, he will walk straight through it.
Yeah, I mean, when I initially looked at it, I was like, he has done so much in such little time. Like, it's insane. And I was like, literally, if this is really it, let it be it. I mean, to come out as close to the top as he possibly can be. I mean, he willed his way to Japan. He lived there. He breathed the culture. He learned full-fledged Japanese to cut promos. He put in so much work in literally 4 or 5 years. And it is remarkable to see how well he's done. And I mean, again, like this is about as good of a modern day run as like a Sick Nick Mondo kind of run.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I compared it to. And I think
Yeah,
it's really awesome. It's curious. I mean, you wrestled him. I mean, now you see like he's been making a killing in Japan. It's really cool to see the people that you wrestle grow into these absolute superstars. And I'm glad he is taking the time away, because I mean, it can be a lot. And the matches he's done in Japan have been stellar, to say the least. So I'm glad he's taking the time to let his body heal and do other stuff. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, I mean, it's, of course, No Man's came up on your calendar. Of course, you had already were planning to come back to the States for WrestleMania weekend. What else do you have on your agenda for 2023? What else do you have in store?
So the night after No Man's Land, I'll be in Boston for ICW. Finally getting that match with Tommy Vendetta, which I'm really looking forward to. It's a match that I've been wanting for a while now. When I first saw him start popping up on the ICW shows, I just put out a tweet saying, I think this guy is pretty decent. I think I'd like to have a pretty good match with him. So it just kind of snowballed from there, and I'm glad we're finally being able to do it. I've never been to Boston before as well, so I'm looking forward to.
It's a good time to go to Boston. Just gonna say, good time with St. Patrick's Day
weekend as well. Yeah, it's gonna be absolutely rammed.
This is gonna be a wild one. But I was more curious though, like, who else do you want to face in 2023? Because I mean, you said this is a year of first. I mean, the platform is yours for whoever you want to face and whoever you want to call out here.
Well, I was meant to wrestle Murdoch in December of last year, but travel issues stopped that from happening. So desperately want to wrestle Murdoch. Casey Kirk, Joel Bateman.
Joel, one of my best friends, love that man.
Yeah, York from Deathmatch Down.
Yeah, York. Okay.
Who else? Who else have we got? There's so many good people. It's one of those things where, like, you ask me and I've got a list, and then when I'm trying to think of but there's so many people.
There's definitely a lot of people, but that's a good, decent list. Joel and York would be really good. York is a ballsy one. I met York, had the pleasure of meeting him last year when he came to the States, and he's got that really surprising heavyweight style, but it fits so well in death matches. And of course, Joel is literally one of the aces of Australian deathmatch wrestling. I think the two of you would really have a hell of a match. And literally, he's been a day one supporter of this podcast, so I owe him the absolute world. Casey would be an interesting one. I am curious, like, how you feel about intergender death matches. I mean, of course, have you had any intergender death matches before?
Yeah, I had one with Session Moth.
Okay, Session Moth. Okay.
Yeah.
Another one who I saw really showed out during the weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's been killing it recently.
Man, I've known Martina for years. I never thought she'd be doing death matches. When I first saw she was doing death matches, I was like, wait, she's doing death matches? So awesome to see Session Moth in the mix too. But yeah, how do you feel about intergender death matches in general? Just I'm curious.
To me, it's just wrestling. There's no. I don't see it as intergender.
Okay.
Technically, to me, it's just a death match. It's just two people who love doing this particular style, and two people who just want to push themselves and each other to see how far they can go with it. And yeah, to me, it's just wrestling. That's all it is.
I'm glad you have that approach. I wish more people had that approach. I mean, of course, the one I think of when you mentioned it, I was thinking immediately of Charlie Evans. Yeah, you said that, because literally she is the queen of breaking barriers in the genre and has been literally the same approach that you have. So I appreciate them more coming around to that kind of approach.
Yeah.
So going back to No Man's, I mean, of course, you're wrestling, Neil, but who are some other people that you're really excited to see on this show as the show has been fully announced?
I'm real excited to see what Callan's going to do, because this is his first American match.
Yeah, it is. He's never been in the States before, which is crazy.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what he gets up to.
Him and Satu is going to be a good one. Him and Satu is going to be a really good one.
And was it Hoodfoot and Tremont versus Casey and
Randy West? West, yeah. I'm hoping Randy West. I know she had to take a few weeks off because of an injury, but I think she should be good for No Man's.
Yeah, I think that one's gonna go all over the building, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's a stacked card. It's a huge card. Yeah, there's just so many opportunities for people to like really put a stamp on this this new company. So I'm excited to see what happens.
So I'm always curious, just from a wrestler standpoint, when a new company approaches you about me. So like, of course, like we have like the Rises, we have the Kumites of the world, but like when a new company like No Man's, it's their very first show. What goes through your mind when it comes to a new company? They're like, hey, we want to have you on. Like, is it exciting for you, or is it like a nervous feeling like, oh, I want to make sure I do good here?
It's a little bit of both, I suppose. It's always nice when someone thinks of you and comes to you and says, oh, especially when it's a brand new place and like, they're trying to think of who can we put on this show that's gonna, potentially get a good amount of eyes on us and stuff. So it's always nice when people think about you and think, oh, well, we'll ask Clint because he's done XYZ.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it was really nice, and like I say, I want to make sure that this match gets remembered, and I want to make sure that people are like, okay, this place isn't fucking around, like they're dead serious on what they want to do, and I want to make sure that I always have a good match, and that's the one thing that I always want to walk out of my matches. I just want to know in my heart of hearts that I had a good match.
Okay, that's awesome to hear. I mean, yeah, No Man's, it's a new company, new start, all that. And I mean, as you said before, it's an absolutely stacked card with some great people from not just around the States, but around the world. So it's really awesome that when we're reaching out to people like yourself, like Callan, who are first of all, making statements everywhere they go. And so it's really going to be cool to see it all come together. Of course, March 17th. Make sure you guys hit up for tickets. Front row's literally sold out, so you want to be close to the action as best as you can. But if you can't make, if you want to, if you're not gonna be able to make it, watch it on IWTV. It'll be live that night. So again, this has been an absolute honor to have you on, Clint. I mean, a man of your reputation, literally a world trendsetter as always. One last thing I want to talk about, because I think me and you have this in common, but our tastes in music are pretty top notch. I gotta ask, I mean, who are your bands you're listening to right now? I know you're a big Used fan. We've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
But who else are you listening to?
They are my absolute all-time number one favorite band ever. Like, I would die for the Used. God, who am I listening to? I'm gonna have to again. There's so many. I'm gonna have to pull up my Spotify and
yeah,
see
of course. But I was like, we have to have this conversation. We're both emos at heart, so
yeah. There's a band called Gel. They're really cool. They're like a hardcore punk band.
Okay.
Oh my god, there's just so many. Wreckage. They're like another hardcore band. I've got really into like I went to a festival last year called Outbreak, and it was a lot of like hardcore punk bands and stuff. So I've really got into a lot of them at the moment. Regulate, they're from New York. They're pretty sick. But yeah, on Hawthorne Heights are playing in Philly the night that I land, and I've got a ticket for that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go and see Hawthorne Heights the night that I get there.
Okay. I'm gonna have to hit you up on that one. We're gonna have a conversation after this.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm more metalcore these days.
Yeah.
Like I Prevail's my favorite band in the world right now. Shout out to anyone
Okay.
who listens to them. Trying to think what else. I also really got into Sleep Token just recently.
Yeah, they're huge at the moment.
Well, it's like their Spotify blew up, but yeah, if anyone here hasn't listened to Sleep Token, get on that hype train now because it's leaving real quick. It is leaving real quick. So, but again, Clint, thank you for coming on. This has been an absolutely incredible experience. But to end it, I always like giving my guests the time to plug anything they have going on. Of course, the floor is yours, my friend. Go ahead and plug away whatever you got going on, Clint.
Yeah, so you can hit me up on Twitter at Clint Margera. You can message me on Instagram or whatever at Clint DMW. At the moment, I've got some ICW Rise trading cards that I'm signing. So you can hit me up if you want one of those. And I've got the terracotta Type A wraps from my match with Eric Ryan. So if someone wants to make an offer on those, they're bloody. I'll sign them. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it really. And then yeah, just keep supporting me, and I appreciate everyone who says nice things and reaches out and appreciates everything that all the deathmatch wrestlers do all over the world, because it's not easy. But we love doing this shit. So if you support it, then you're all good with us.
Well, that is an awesome way to cap this off. It has been a fantastic conversation with the one, the only Clint Margera. Of course, this is on the road to no man's land. Be sure to check out the show March 17th. Clint going to be main eventing against Neil Diamond Cutter. Real big match. So keep your eyes peeled on that one. But of course, thank you for listening to this episode of Your Dose of Death podcast with yours truly, Loren, and have a good rest of your day, guys.
This has been a Count Out Podcast.